Huwag na tayo mag
It's okay. We can
do
the extra. Yeah.
Yeah, sige.
No, I'm just glad Jasper's okay.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Jasper, what happened, man? Are you okay? Is everybody okay?
Yeah. You
What up,
had
Albert?
Oops.
Scary.
Albert, what's up?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, medyo
Welcome
late.
to the
No, I don't mind
technical-
starting late. I just need to know that Jasper's okay.
Yeah, meron lang tayong konting technical difficulties, I guess we'd say.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
yeah, ganda. Are you hand washing or washing machine? Awi.
Glendale, Julian, of course, regulars.
Laundry companions.
Actually, magandang kasama yan. Like, I listen to podcasts when I do chores too. It works.
Yeah.
Hello, Ninang Abby.
Julian, Glendale.
Adore.
Adore. Hello.
Meron tayong teacher. Jasper, hindi ka pa rin sumasagot. Tangina. He just came back to put us on.
Yeah, I think it's not as bad as we think. I think they're just having a meeting and they forgot.
Yeah,
I think
see.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I'm just worried. I just need to know that he's physically okay. Because
Yeah.
Kasi maraming ganap.
Mamaya, hino-hold up na pala
He's
yung
okay.
TPN, no?
He's okay. He's okay.
Good job, Jasper. And good evening to everybody checking in, guys. Check in on babyface producer Jasper as well.
Cardio.
Medyo nagpanic kami ng konti. But
oh yeah, his arms are weak. His arms are heavy. He's vomiting on his sweater already.
Mom's spaghetti.
Carry lots of stuff. Okay.
Someone here has a question from Marco Minjola.
What do you think of?
I don't think it's gonna happen before.
Yeah, I think I think there's after WrestleMania is like 2 months or 3 months until the next Money in the Bank. So I think gagawin na ng cardiac finish yung story ni Damon Priest.
Like literally at the
he
last
cashed it on Lana. He's a real winner. He cashed it on Lana. On CJ Perry. Did you guys talk about that last week? Yung divorce ni
no, we did not. Yeah, no, I forgot.
I mean, it's kind of weird to talk about a real life divorce.
I just want to say that it's sad. It's really sad. It's really sad kasi alam mo yung parang bagay sila for each other. So
Lana and Damien Priest or CJ Perry?
No, Lana and CJ Perry and Miro.
And Miro. Yeah.
They've been together since like their
since their NXT days.
Since their NXT days, yeah. When she was brought in as a valet. So.
It's really fucking sad.
Yeah.
You hate to see something.
The Lashley storyline became real. It's bad to laugh at it, but it's so funny. Yes.
Honestly, if I was Miro in that situation, I wouldn't sign on that story. Like that's just weird. The whole.
Hindi mo ikaw si Miro.
Exactly.
I mean, malay ba natin kung ano yung tunay na rason, di ba? Kung ba't sila nag-divorce talaga. So, we can only speculate.
Exactly, you can only speculate.
Kung may kinalaman ba yung wrestling sa buhay nila or wala, di ba? Or sa divorce nila or wala. We don't know.
Yeah.
Babe.
Alright, 10 seconds left.
Shut up na.
for story time.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening... And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are now listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast, starting 5 minutes late. It's Romaran, Chino Leal, and Emil Nate joining you tonight. Stan's not around. Roman SH is not around. Maybe he'll be back for Holy Week or the week right before our viewing party. But Stan is currently unable to join because di pa tapos yung construction sa bahay niya. We're here tonight, though. We're here to talk about the latest in the week of wrestling. Chino still has Naked Cena on. How are you, gentlemen? How are you today?
Never taking it down. Naked Cena will always be my background.
Yeah, doing great right now. The weather is fine. Everything in life is good. So that's what I can say.
Yeah,
the
all
weather's
things
pretty-
considered, good. Yeah.
The weather's pretty surprising. Umulan bigla sa BGC kanina. Parang di summer. We're almost in
Same
summer.
here.
Pero parang
Same here, yeah.
in the summer. Yeah, so I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I hope everyone is staying dry and warm in this rainy Thursday in late March. Also staying healthy. Some people have been getting sick because of the weird weather. So if that is you, please stay home. Please, rest up, recharge, take your vitamins, say your prayers if you're that kind of person. Maraming bad juju na nangyayari ngayon. I don't understand. Is Mercury in retrograde? Does anyone know? But it's not. It hasn't been a great week. I feel so. I hope that you're all staying safe. Right, let's get to some wrestling. Before we get to some wrestling talk, let's do a little housekeeping, and let's begin by talking about our WrestleMania 40 viewing party. Since Chino is hosting the Hobby Stadium leg, Chino, let's tell the people about the viewing party.
Yeah, so it's happening on the Sunday and Monday, first Sunday and Monday of April. That's April 7 and 8, in two venues. The biggest WrestleMania ever that serves two big viewing parties ever. So we're holding them rather in both Skinny Mike's and BGC and Hobby Stadium in Quezon City, all for 2 days. So we are selling out both venues for those 2 days. Early bird rates start at 350 pesos. That comes with a free iced tea and a raffle entry to our amazing prizes. Pwede kayong manalo pwede kayong manalo ng prizes from Everybody Toys and Collectibles and from Hobby Stadium themselves. All you gotta do is head to that site right there. Nandiyan din sa ticker, tinyurl.com/WrestleMania40PH. Meron din kaming 2-day passes available, also affording you a ticket and an iced tea for either venues. 2-day passes are non-transferable. So for Hobby Stadium lang. For Skinny Mike's lang. Also, we will not be allowing props and paraphernalia of any sort at Skinny Mike's. We will be holding all attendees accountable for whatever they bring. Pag may nakita kaming belt or any sort of replica, hindi namin papapasukin. Hobby Stadium, however, will allow belts only, replica belts only. Anything other than a belt will be held outside and hindi sila liable for damages. Guys, again, please avail of the early bird rate until April 3. Pag natapos na April 3, 450 na yan, save yourself the 100 pesos. Also, the tickets do not entitle you to a table reservation. So our advice
Yes.
is for you guys to show up bright and early on the mornings of April 7 and 8.
Just a correction, really quickly. Nina, we won't turn you away if you have a prop or a belt sa Skinny Mics. We'll just ask you. We'll just hold it for you until the event is over. So, hindi
Oh,
naman kami magpapalis ng tao. If
and
you have
then,
a car, leave it in your car.
yeah, yeah. But then again, kung iniwan nyo sa guard yung belt nyo and may nangyari
Yeah,
din sa
yeah.
belt nyo, well, hindi kasalanan ng guard,
No,
hindi din namin
no, we'll,
kasalanan.
we'll we'll hold it for them. We'll hold it for them.
Yeah.
And syempre, kami naman yung magiging accountable doon. Pero ayun. And also speaking of the 2-day tickets, if you have a 2-day ticket, uh you are not allowed to cross the venue.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether you buy for Hobby Stadium or Skinny Mics, doon ka lang, unfortunately, just so we don't mess up our accounting. That's I know we'll work on that, but for now, that's the restriction. So, yeah. Before we talk about our patrons, mention really quickly. I know I plugged this at the end of the show, but I have to mention it because anonymous patron El Nino. El Patron Anonimo is sponsoring a free 1-day pass for WrestleStorm happening this Sunday, in which I will be wrestling again. He had he has not allowed me to divulge his identity, so I can't, disprove the allegations But somebody is sponsoring a ticket, and we will be holding a contest right after this stream. The deadline for the contest is tomorrow night, and we will hold a quick raffle off the air to determine the winner, and of the free ticket. So if you've been planning to go to the Sunday show, kung medyo mahal siya for you, somebody has really been generous enough to sponsor a free ticket to a lucky wrestling podcast subscriber or follower. So stay tuned na lang doon sa Facebook natin, where I will hold a really quick contest. It's an easy contest. Just have to answer a question, and tawag doon, we'll draw a raffle. So yeah, right. Next, more housekeeping. Emil, let's tell the people what they can enjoy if they ever subscribe and support us on our Patreon.
Oh, yeah, you can enjoy a lot of things by subscribing to our Patreon and supporting us in everything that we do. It's right there below, the link right there. Patreon.com/wrestling podcast. For as low as $5 to 250 to 260 pesos in our local currency. Of course, you would get the chance to join in our Discord, where Rowan is asking a lot of questions lately. So you can enjoy the discussion. You can enjoy the discussion
Parang
there.
hindi kayo natutuwa dun sa mga
Because you have to be there to experience it.
There. So, yeah, so then you can enjoy the discussion as well. Everything, you can hang out with us, talk to us about anything, not just wrestling, but all sorts of stuff. Also, you'll get the preferential rates on the service fees on the pasabays that we're doing. Probably the next one is probably going to be next month or so. So if you want to get your authentic wrestling merch and gusto nyo makatipid sa service fees, you can do that by joining our Patreon. And we also got the review content, the weekly wrestling shows, courtesy of us. Almost lahat na rin kami. We're writing reviews for almost all. We're covering it all. Weekly wrestling shows: Raw, SmackDown, Impact, Dynamite, the AEW weekend shows. There's some local wrestling stuff as well, courtesy of Rowan. And again, by subscribing, you're pretty much supporting everything that we do here in the pod. So again, the link is right there below. It's patreon.com/wrestling podcast.
Right. Really quickly, Jasper's put it up. We don't have time anymore, so I'll go through this really quickly. WWE on Blast TV, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, free for Converge and Globe. Globe at home. Globe at home na pala tawag doon. Tapos, it's $179 for everyone else. Please support this, as I was talking about on Discord the other day. If you don't support this, if we don't bring the numbers here, they will take it away from us, and you will have to go back to pirating, yung weekly TV show. So that's it. Right, Jasper, let's move on. All right, let's begin our wrestling talk with today's episode of Dynamite. And the first thing that happened is the main event of Dynamite and the opening minutes of Rampage, as it should be noted. Adam Copeland has finally won the TNT Championship in an I Quit match in Toronto. So, alam mo yun, They did this to do it in the hometown. It was sold out, and it was not unlike recent AEW shows na hindi puno yung auditor yung stadium. So what do you think of this, guys? Is this the result that we wanted, and is this the right move na minove nila yung championship match from Revolution to this episode of Dynamite? What do you guys think? Let's start with Gina.
I think I was right because the thing with AEW is they only have so many pay-per-views that go on. Dinagdagan lang nila this year with Dynasty, but every so often, diba, they only have a pay-per-view. So for them to make a TV tape, that means they have to make TV tapings just as special sometimes. And I think they accomplished it with that. I also agree that they should have taken the championship away from Christian Cage. Yes, may hijinks, quote unquote, na nangyari with regards to the ranking system. But we're not going to talk about that. It's neither here nor there. Nangyari na. Diba? And we got the result that I feel like we all wanted. Diba? I felt like with Adam Copeland winning the title was important because it makes Copeland and his open challenges a little bit more credible. People competing for them can actually compete for the TNT title from time to time or kung every match niya gusto gawin, pwede din niya gawin yon. And keeping Christian Cage away from the title, moving him away from that scene and onto other things is also important so that his story evolves. Diba? He still has to resolve issues amongst his own party, and he still also has a lot of other dead fathers to call out. So, mas madami pang opportunity for everybody else involved because of the things that happen.
I
All right,
agree
Emil.
with I agree with Chino. It was the right move to put this match on a main event of Dynamite in front of the Toronto crowd. Because if you would look at the card ng Revolution, it would have been lost. Kasi sa sobrang dami ng mga good matches ng Revolution, so it would have been lost in the shuffle. So to put this match on an episode of Dynamite where they could really spotlight the moment. You could tell the story of these are two best friends who grew up together in Toronto, and now they're main eventing a Dynamite, which I think they never did in WWE, like in
Yeah,
Toronto. Like
they never
they
did that.
they,
Well,
they never did that.
they only really had one match together, two matches
Oh yeah.
together.
Yeah, so 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 at least nagawa nila dito, hindi nila nagawa before when they were still in WWE together. So I'm sure both men really they planned the hell out of this match. Like this is something I know they have dreamed of of doing together ever since they became wrestlers, and it was great. I love it. I love na Christian finally got his comeuppance because I felt like his character was getting too invincible because of the patriarchy. So I'm glad now we finally got this ending. Do I think it's gonna be over between Cope and Christian Cage? No, I'm still thinking of a possible reunion there down the road. But they were able to close their feud on a good note.
Yeah, I agree with all of what you guys said. It was a really good move in hindsight to move this to Toronto. Medyo nawalan lang ng finesse to get Daniel Garcia to the Revolution match. I just wanted to point out that for those who think that the story isn't important in AEW, this match and the way it went down, the way that they moved it to Toronto and pinagkasya nila sa Toronto show to headline the Toronto show, that proves why storytelling and marketing and promotion is important. Because without all of these things, yes, you could have a Brian Danielson versus Shibata from last week at at the drop of a hat, right? You can always do that because Shibata's in the US, right? But if that had the build that Cope versus Cage had, it would have been a more major event, and it would have solved the problem that Emil had with it. Diba? As it I don't mind it being a free TV match. This was a free TV match, but it didn't feel like one. Diba? It felt much more than that, and that's really what you need to build up, especially if you only have 4 or 6 or 5 pay-per-views a year. Diba? Yun yung, that's the big picture that a lot of people seem to miss, and I feel like Christian Cage and Adam Copeland only got to do that because they know how to do these things. They know how to promote themselves and how to tell a story that lends itself to something, to creating a moment as big as this. So, I hope that it might fly over a lot of people's heads, especially if you're like, you're just a wrestling first kind of fan. But this is why we look for storytelling. This is why we look for promotion. Yeah. Anyone else have anything to add? All right.
Good.
All right. Before we move on to the rest of the AEW topics, let's take a quick break and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. Okay, moving on. We had another title change on this week's episode. Oh, ba't ito? Yung isa. Did we miss one? Did we miss? Okay, yeah, there we go. Our first actually title change on this episode of Dynamite. In Kazuchika's second match, tama, as a full-time member of the AEW roster, he is now the new AEW Continental Championship. And was this too fast or just right, considering that this is, after all, the Rainmaker? Gino, what do you think?
Iniisip ko din yung implications nito for this current American Triple Crown that they were touting just a few last year, I think, or just early this year. Diba? Yung kay Eddie Kingston. Now that they've broken up the Triple Crown, what does it mean for the other two titles that Kingston holds? How does this title become significant now if it's just on its own? Because I've always thought that this was a title you won because you won the Continental Clash, diba? Yung G1 style tournament nila. So,
yeah.
I mean, yung mga larger implications lang yun, questions that have been raised. But all in all, on its own, I think it was right that Okada was able to put away Eddie Kingston. I don't know how credible it would have been kung natalo ni Eddie Kingston si Okada, because he is the Rainmaker, right? He comes into this with so much hype. Diba? Kaya tinaasan natin ng 10 beses yung sweldo niya last week. Yung hype na kasama niya, it's real. It's legitimate, So it makes a lot of sense that he walks away with the title. Ang sa akin lang is, it's another example of AEW going back on what they said again, diba? With their rankings and whatnot. Now they have this Triple Crown na hindi na Triple Crown all of a sudden. So I don't know what that means for them down the road.
For me, obviously they're gonna have Okada go on a Goldberg type streak here that is gonna win a lot of matches, but medyo na surprise ako with the fact that he literally won a title in his first singles match. Kasi his first match was in a 6-man tag. So this is his first singles match as a full-time member and champion agad siya. So, but again, it's Okada. And he's a star for a reason. They paid him over how many millions of dollars per year. So susulitin niya talaga yung investment niya and have him win the title on his first match to make a statement that this guy is a star. And if you don't know Okada before, you better watch out for him, because he's gonna be a vital member of the AEW roster for years to come.
The Young Bucks literally told Dave Marquez, "Get ready to learn Japanese, buddy." Okay lang naman, nananalo siya, but my problem was with the way he won. Like, okay, one Rainmaker and that's it. Like, yes, it puts over how vicious the Rainmaker really is, and ideally, if you don't watch NJPW, you would be a little confused as to why this innocuous looking lariat can finish a match. And I felt like Eddie Kingston should have been the guy to put over the Rainmaker as as a result of a hard fought match. And I thought that they went pretty quick with that, parang okay, one Rainmaker out na siya. And then but Kingston has been fighting tooth and nail this entire time as champion and as challenger, diba? And I felt like they kind of shortchanged him there. Parang okay, talo ka agad. But you're supposed to be a legit, you're supposed to be one of the big hardworking champions here, diba? So I just felt really sad that they did him just like that. Like, not even I wish there was like I know they were trying to do the eye gouging thing, but it didn't translate as much kasi. So I wish that there was something a little more to really help protect Eddie Kingston in that particular finish.
I'm sorry,
But congrats, Okada. Sorry, what? Oh, go.
I'm sorry, but this reminds me so much of another Kingston who lost a title in a
Iba naman yun. Wait, no,
no,
it's not the same. It's not the same.
Not the
no, but
same.
That's not the
Yeah.
it
same thing.
reminds me.
Nagets
I'm
ko
not
naman
saying
yung
it's the same.
I get
It's
what you
the same.
both. Yeah. Go
It's
ahead.
the
Sorry.
I don't know. It just reminded me of his road to the title of how memorable that was, and then he just lost it in a you know in a snap. Hindi naman to in a snap, but like you said, he only natalo siya agad by just a single rainmaker. Which if you have been watching Eddie Kingston's reign, like you said, he's a hard fought. He's a he's a fighting champion. He's tough to beat. Danielson can't even beat him nung Revolution, di ba? So ano lang, it was parang minadali nila yung transition of the title going from Kingston to Okada. I wish they could have put a little bit more effort in there. Make it a little bit hard for Okada, but I understand. Again, he's a star. He's someone TK is really high on. But it's just unfortunate that it had to happen at the expense of Eddie Kingston.
It makes sense if you come into it as with stock knowledge of NJPW, because if you do, that nobody kicks out of the Rainmaker unless you're like a
Yeah.
big main event star, diba? But nobody knows that here, or not everyone knows that here. Yes, again, it's for the niche, pero come on, let's do Kingston a little better here. I mean, at least have him take some more damage. Albert is right, diba? Parang nasayangan ako for him.
Pahabaan limon muna nila before he actually hit the Rainmaker. I get that.
Yeah. All right. Carlo brought up something here. Sana walang problema ang locker rooms because of the discrepancy ng mga bayad. Which brings us to our next topic. Jasper has been it up. Mercedes Moné has she's been here for a week now, I believe. And there are reports that some people in the locker room in the women's division are not happy with how much she is getting paid, because she is getting paid a lot. We don't know the exact terms, but
definitely not 500 million. Definitely not. Yeah.
She did turn down a contract from an offer from the WWE because AEW offered her more. But it should be noted that in the 2 episodes of Dynamite that she's been around, the women have one more segment than the features to that. So that's huge, I feel. And it proves what I was predicting before she came in. If she's here, you have to give her a segment, and then you have to give the other women a segment. But syempre, if you're an AEW lifer, if you've been around for a lot longer than Mercedes Moné, it's natural to be celos, diba? Dun sa bayad na nakuha niya. So I get that. I get that everybody wants to make money, but it has to be said that Mercedes has proven her drawing power. She's gotten a whole bunch of Americans and Western fans waking up early to watch Wrestle Kingdom last year, diba? And that's not a small thing. It's not a small thing at all. What do you guys think of this haka backstage na may nagsaselo sa kanya?
Oh man,
Ala
this is
Shira.
This is yung selos na yun, normal lang yun because of course if you compare, diba, sa workplace naman normal yan, especially yung nagko-compare ng paycheck, diba? But it's not like I think the value of her contract is justifiable because she's like the Michael Jordan and the entire division is the rest of the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan, in his last few seasons with the Bulls, she got paid more than the entire team combined because of the value that he was bringing into the fold. So it's the same thing for me. Na Mercedes is probably the biggest get that they probably had ever in the women's division. So justified yung contract, but I can also understand the jealousy. Do I think it's gonna blow into this big issue? Sana hindi. Sana they could have a conversation in there where Mercedes can gel well with the rest of the locker room kasi she's gonna be the main anchor na of that division. So she, at least on her part, she should be able to at least help the division be brought up rather than siya lang yung star and then everybody else plays second fiddle. So it's a team effort nonetheless, and if the other women wants to get paid even more, then they're gonna have to do the work as much as I feel like they, in their minds, they are already doing the work. So it's gonna take a real team effort here for everyone to get what they want. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, kung magagalit sila sa person, hindi sila dapat magalit kay Mercedes Moné. Diba? Because she brings value to the team. I think dapat magalit sa management nila, sa creative that's been doing the misjustice, diba? Kasi, sino bang may kasalanan nung walang segments on TV? Sila ba? Di ba hindi naman? May kasalanan yan yung creative nila. Right? So that's, and really, it's systemic in AEW when they're relying on a person to change the system when they have the power to change it themselves, diba? Pwede naman nila gawan ng paraan dati yun eh. It's just that they decided to bring in somebody like Mercedes Moné to do that. And unfortunately, Mercedes Moné costs a lot of money, diba? Which will rub people the wrong way. Pero at the same time, hindi ba din pwede sisiyan si Mercedes Moné because she asked for an amount and Tony Khan gave it to her. Diba? And she had a good management team behind her. Magaling yung agent niya. Na-arrange yung salary niya ng ganun kataas. Good for her.
Yeah.
Diba? Who's to say that the other girls didn't do that, diba? Like, bakit hindi nila ginawa yun? Bakit hindi sila nag-arrange for that kind of salary? So, madami din opportunities dyan na pwede nating i-pinpoint eh. Ultimately, I feel like Mercedes Moné is worth the investment in terms of AEW trying to expand their women's division. Whether or not it actually succeeds kasi ang daming beses na nilang inattempt yan with people like Saraya and the other people that they brought on, Tony Storm, diba? People that they brought on into the fold. Whether it actually succeeds this time with Mercedes Moné is still a wait and see proposition for me.
Saka if she succeeds in drawing more people or drawing more money for the company, for the division, lahat sila magbe-benefit eh. So again, like I said earlier, it has to be a team effort on their part. Now we have this big time player on our fold. We need to maximize it so that the division can be better than what it was.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate now with all these celos sa sueldo issues. It's gonna look like trouble is a friend for Mercedes Moné. But I really hope that they don't start some more backstage shit. Like you don't need that. Man, you don't need that shit. You're already trying to restore the feeling, and I hope that no woman backstage starts that shit. Like I'm looking at you, Britt Baker. Don't start any shit. I do think she deserves the money. Like the fact that they got an extra segment alone for the women is proof that it's already working, diba? So, take it up with Tony Khan, not with Mercedes Moné. She's just getting her bag. She has nothing to do with that. She knows her worth. Right. Yep. Before we cross over to WWE, let's clearly demarcate this stream and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. Right, let's cross over to WWE. We got quite a bit to talk about from Raw. First, Cody has a comeback for Rock's concert, which is okay sana yun. And then he tried to cut the promo, but you know, he really put on his big boy pants. He talked some shit, said a few PG-13 words to The Rock. Called him an asshole, called him a bitch, called him Roman side chick, said he had a small dick. Kung ano-ano pa. It was good. I enjoyed it. I see quite a bit of people hating it back on the internet, but I thought that was a pretty nice response from Cody. What did you guys think of this? Was it the perfect or was it a good comeback? Not a perfect comeback, but a good one. Gino, what do you think?
Medyo weird siya sa akin. I'll be honest. It was weird for me. It was very out of. I get that he was trying to be serious, like, pero ang effect sa akin nun, it's like a kid using cuss words for the first time. You know, you shit ka. When you hear the word shit, when you first heard a cuss word, you didn't really know what it meant, so you just threw it out there, and that's what it struck me as. I know that Cody is always, hindi naman siya clean cut, diba? Neck tat nga siya eh. But for some reason, ganun yung effect niya sa akin because he's always been packaged as a good guy, as a guy who always did the right thing. Yeah. And yes, I guess appropriate yung response given the level of aggression that's happened in this match. But I also feel like because of this rivalry, Emil and I have talked about this on the podcast. Parang it takes away stuff from the larger picture of Cody finishing his story. Diba? It's now focused on Cody versus The Rock, which we were never going to get anyway. Diba? We were never going to get Cody versus The Rock. The Rock, Roman Reigns always had to be involved. And now for some reason, si Roman na yung nagiging side chick. Di ba si Roman na yung parang nakisali lang when originally Roman was the center of attention here and good old Dwayne was just dropped in there. So, yun lang yung issue ko dito sa focus na to.
I think they're gonna address it naman on this episode
When?
of SmackDown. Ano,
Kasi Roman na nagano kasi they weaved in Paul Heyman.
Oh,
okay.
They will have a one-on-one on SmackDown. Like no members of the bloodline allowed in the building. So I feel like they will redirect that on SmackDown, which is why I'm like, okay, I'm giving them a break about it. The response is okay kasi they went tit for tat eh. Like yung parang he just matched the same energy na Rock put out nung SmackDown on Friday. So those words were needed to combat because Rock is known for using the same words. So parang Cody copied from the Rock's playbook, but he twisted it and put in a little bit of Cody flavor in there, and it worked. Like I liked it. I liked the promo. He didn't have to cry this time. He was just he was just I know he was just aggressive, which is I like. We're this close to WrestleMania, so you should be getting hype, should be getting more angrier at the bloodline as we as we go on here.
I didn't think he matched the energy. I thought he had better energy. Kasi puro kakengko yan lang naman yung ginagawa ni Rock eh, diba? I mean, I'm over that high school juvenile sophomore shit. Like I've heard it before, and it's fun to hear. It's funny, yes. It's funny in the moment, but it doesn't really add much to the story overall. Because it's there to serve as the pop people who want that easy brainless material, diba? Honestly, like it's so easy to poke fun at Stardust. Also easy to call Cody a mistake, diba? To say that to go after his mom. Diba? That's low hanging fruit, diba? So the fact that Cody went for the jugular, to me, Cody went for the jugular and cooked Rock kasi parang he took aim at the fact that he couldn't stay out. He couldn't stay out of all of this, and he was using the entire thing to stay relevant. Diba? So I thought that was much more effective, and I thought that really read Rock like a book. Kaya mas nagustuhan ko yung promo ni Cody. So I'm glad that they're hopefully bringing it back to Roman, which is the entire point of this whole thing anyway. Diba? The Rock doesn't even interfere if it's not for Roman. So um, I hope that the next 2 weeks, 2 weeks na lang, we finally get the exchanges that focus on the Cody and Roman, because what else are we watching really? Like, I mean, LA Knight was right. Wrestling was cool 6 or 7 months before The Rock came back. So it's all right. It's all good. Diba? Yeah, Glendale. The Rock is the jock bully. I've seen that. I've worked with people like that before, and you quickly get over it because it's funny once, a couple of times, and then they're not. After a while, they're not really adding much to the story because they're just playing it for laughs. So yeah. Next, we have a development in the Intercontinental Championship picture. One, Chad Gable is serious now. Medyo sad boy na siya. He's traded the Alpha Academy tank tops for a suit. He is now really somber and morose and solemn. And then he just straight up cooked Sammy and said that he couldn't beat Gunther. So, what are we looking for here? What are we expecting to see here? What do you guys think, Chino? What are you looking for? What are you anticipating?
I think, in as much as I would want to see Sammy beat Gunther, I don't think it's for him. Like sinabi din namin ni Emil to last stream that I think that's still Chad Gable's match to lose. Diba? It's still gonna end up Gable versus Gunther kasi dalawang beses na sila nag-face. And dalawang beses na din siya inupakan. So, wrestling logic dictates that third time's a charm. For Sammy, I think it's just them crediting him and his hard work and all the time that he's put in, diba? Give the guy a WrestleMania spot, why don't you? He deserves it. Right? But at the end of the day, I don't think, kahit convincing yung promo na binigay ni Sami Zayn against Gunther, I don't think this feud is the feud that ends Gunther's reign. I think, if anything, it does more for Sammy losing kasi nga bibigyan na naman siya ng bagong angle, bagong change in character than for him winning against Gunther, which frankly I don't think people want to see as much as Chad Gable winning the Intercontinental Championship.
Pero may inaabangan ba tayong twist? Like, is there a twist coming? Because I can't read it right now.
I don't know. I actually don't know if there is a twist.
Ito, like, I love how Chad Gable suddenly got into Sami Zayn's head. I love that how they.
Sami Zayn got into his head.
No, okay. Like,
he's wearing suits now.
No, but I know their conversation, and then after, like, diba, Sammy was, hey, it was an honor to have that match last week and all. Tapos after that moment, after Chad Gable prinangka siya, kasi sinabi sa kanya na you can't beat Gunther, Sammy wasn't the same. He, like, in the promo, I love that they addressed it on commentary na after that 5-way promo, is he convincing everyone or is he convincing himself? And they planted seeds of doubt for Sammy na am I gonna believe this guy when he told me na I can't beat Gunther? Kasi may gravitas yung sinabi ni Chad Gable because he has been there. He has faced Gunther twice and he can't beat him. So it's one of those things na storytelling wise, I'm glad that they actually are making an effort there. In terms of a twist, my mind immediately went to Chad Gable turning heel and joining Imperium at WrestleMania, but that's kind of far off.
Okay. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I'm glad that you mentioned that because I wanted to ask this next question. So when Chad Gable lost to Sami Zayn last week in the Gauntlet match, people were cheering him hard. And then people were kind of booing, or people are upset online with Sami because siya yung nanalo ulit. And then we're repeating WrestleMania last year. Diba? So if people are cheering for Chad Gable and are rooting for him, why is the play for him to be a dick? diba? Why is it that he is the guy doing his own Drew McIntyre turn of, kailangan ko manalo eh, so magiging kupal na ako, diba? So I don't. So what do you guys think of this? Because to me, it feels like Triple H is so good right now at building baby faces, babyface stars, that now he's the victim. He's suffering from his own success, and people like Chad Gable are suffering from their own from his success. Na nagiging parang kailangan maging heel sila kasi not everyone can be an underdog babyface here. So, what do you guys think of that? Like, why is Chad Gable the guy being a dick here to Sammy?
It's
Kasi
interesting
siya
na
yung
ganyan.
natalo eh.
Sorry, sorry. Let me just.
Oo.
Yeah, it gets caught. Yeah, it's interesting that that's how you read it. Because for me, I think it's just them trying to give Gable an even bigger chip on the shoulder. Tulad yung sinabi ni Emil, diba? I don't know where he was going, but it's right. He's right. Natalo siya eh. Diba? So now he has even more to prove. Not just to Gunther, but also to Sami Zayn. Diba? Kasi he knows na kaya niya si Sami Zayn. He lost, yes, that gauntlet match. Pero alam niya kaya niya si Sami Zayn. Just like he knows that he can beat Gunther. Diba? So now he's like even hungrier now, even itchier now. Diba? Yung urge niya na lumalabas na as pagkakupal, yes, pagkagago, but then at the same time, he's just trying to be really the guy to get back on top, diba? And I think that's the arc we're going for here. Now, it's not necessarily a heel turn, but more of giving him an edge that he never quite had. Hindi na siya yung wholesome Mr. America professor coach type guy. They're just trying to add a little bit more flavor, a little bit more spice to somebody like Chad Gable.
I've seen this. I've seen this shit so many times in Triple H booking. Na the underdog babyface needed that extra edge before he can rise to the top and win the championship. I've seen that with Gargano. I've seen that with with Sami Zayn even. So hindi nakataka-taka na Triple H went this route. You know, but the thing is, Chad Gable is already one of your best baby faces in the company. So parang there was no, because people are gonna root for him anyway, no matter what. Nah? You just have to put him in a position where he would succeed, and people are gonna get behind him. So I know what they're doing here, but they could have done the other. They could have gone the other way, and it would still be as good, if not even better than what they're doing now.
It's admittedly too early to say because it's really like the first week after people have been, pulling for Chad Gable. So I'm honestly jumping the gun here, but I hope that they don't sacrifice yung goofy side in Chad Gable. Like I feel like they're doing another Bailey and then they're doing another Drew. But the Drew thing is we already have a Drew, and what Drew did was recent. So super obsessed with becoming champion that he becomes an asshole. Diba? I don't want that to happen to Chad because that's what it looks like is going to happen. But again, yeah, it's one of those things that we will have to let play out because maaga pa. It's just that I feel like Triple H has been juggling a bit on how he's had so many stars that he can't always push, diba? He can't always push. So I just hope that he knows what he's doing because a lot of people have been cheering. They cheered Sammy last year. They gave him the tag team championship when he wanted the Uwu championship, and then now I hope that yung end. Well, I mean, a lot of people are hoping that the end game for Chad Gable is the Intercontinental Championship. So I would like to see how Triple H jukes this particular situation because it's not cut and dry talaga. Right. Before we end the show, one last point from Raw. Emil's favorite, Jimmy and Jay, have confronted each other on Raw to the chagrin of Adam Pearce. And Jimmy said that it was Jay's idea to leave the bloodline. And he's blaming it all on Jay. And apparently he had nothing to do with it, even though he was the one who pretty much set off the events that would see the Usos leave the bloodline in the first place. Jay didn't want to do it. If you all remember what happened, how it happened. So a lot of weird things happening here. And it's one of those things that you do have to also let it play out. Pero it's strange. So Emil has feelings about this. Talk your shit.
I've been complaining about this ever since Jimmy turned on Jay. Like, it didn't make sense then. It doesn't make sense now. They didn't explain the fact that they haven't explained why Jimmy all of a sudden returned to the bloodline. That fact itself, parang ano eh, something was off na talaga for me. So I feel like parang they just they just put these different pieces in place just so they could get the Usos matchup at WrestleMania. But honestly, if it was up to me, I would move this match for another time because I don't think the dynamics is there yet for a compelling brother versus brother storyline. Kasi first of all, they're on different brands. And nang-epan lang naman si Jimmy pag may title match si Jay. Which, again, you gotta build up on that. You can't just do that and then, sabak na, feud na agad tayo. Kasi, again, I understand long-term storytelling and all, but medyo nakalito din talaga tong story na to. Like, the inconsistency of Jimmy's character in booking makes me less interested in him, thus making me less interested in actually seeing them fight. Kasi, yung momentum nila is night and day. Jay is having this terrific run when he got to Raw. He became a tag team champion, main evented a pay-per-view. He's consistently consistently on Raw every week, while Jimmy is back to playing the second fiddle in the bloodline, and parang paiba-iba eh. Walang consistency yung character niya. Minsan you could see some seeds there of Roman not liking him, and then some other time he's gonna help Roman win it just sucks because the brother versus brother thing has so much potential because andun na yung draw. It's brother versus brother, but if you look closely into it, this seemed like rushed. This whole thing, and we're only 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, so I think I can say it now. They just Carlo is right. There's no explanation. They just epped it up and roll with it because it's WrestleMania season, and they've been saying that they want to face each other at WrestleMania. So again, they could have done it right, pero wala. Nandito na tayo and they just roll with it. And because of that, I'm not that interested in this match, and I'm just more confused and pissed at Jimmy Uso than before. So that's my feelings about
All
it.
right. Yeah. No, gets. Chino, what do you think, Chino?
I think okay. I think it yes, bakit nga yung characterization ni Jimmy Uso up to this point. And yes, he could have done it better. But I think honestly, sa haba ng bloodline storyline, I'm just glad that they're wrapping one of the threads up nicely at WrestleMania, diba? Because this whole thing is like a 3-year saga almost na parang sa haba nitong story na to na nag-start pa nung nag-champion si Roman Reigns and matatapos 3 years later. I'm just glad that it's ending. It's coming to a head. They could have done it. They could have done it earlier. They should have done it earlier, in fact. But they wanted the WrestleMania spot. I saw this stat online that said every 15 years nagkakaroon ng brother versus brother matchups. And this kind of tracks. So yes, I guess this is our generation's version of that. Right? So I guess it kind of tracks. But yeah, they definitely could have done it better. But I mean, it's there. It's there. And I'm just glad that it's ending after 3 long years of the same shit. Diba? Na pinahaba lang nila ng pinahaba. Right? I think ultimately si Solo Sikoa is also going to play a part in this because he is a brother also. So it's to me, yun yung inaabangan ko, yun yung twist na tinitignan ko what role he has in this feud.
Yeah.
The 3-year
go.
thing, it started off really well, diba? They have told this wonderful story. That's why a few months ago I compared this whole thing to the series finale of How I Met Your Mother. And I'm still comparing it to that now. The entire season 9 of How I Met Your Mother is like this whole last 5 months of this whole Jimmy versus Jay saga. Say they really fumbled it. They could have had something special in there, but here we are now. But again, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen nonetheless. And people are gravitated towards that brother versus brother thing.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is I agree that they should have explained why Jimmy turned on Jay properly, and then why he went back to the bloodline. Yun ang hinihintay ko explanation. Kasi Jimmy gaslighting Jay and all of that. I can still that's like say it's a heel saying heelish things, diba? You could still have a heel do irrational things in the name of villainy, diba? Ganun naman ang mga kontrabida, diba? Mga kung ano-ano sinasabi nila, kung ano-ano isip nila, diba? But I needed an explanation from Jimmy to Roman, diba? Kasi Roman just, accepted him back. And I wanted to know why uh, he turned his back on the thing that he started, diba? So, yun ang kulang sa akin. And that's why I agree that this has been a quite heatless story, because they spent a whole bunch of time over the past couple of months focusing the bloodline against Cody, that they forgot that they wanted to do Jimmy and Jay. So super sayang, because it will be a great match between the twins, but it's the story to get there is not really good. So it sucks. I wanted them to do this really well, but we're not getting a good story out of it. Right, that's it for our wrestling talk this week on the live stream. But before we get out of here, fellas, let's get your plugs in. Emil, you got anything?
Lando man, just follow us on all our social media accounts. And Wrestling Fans in Naga, I think Cafe Nate and Sir Miko Garcia of Comedy Olago is cooking up something for WrestleMania. So pag may official na, I'll also plug it here on the pod. So just stay tuned for that.
Right. Chino, what you got?
Yeah, so a few things. I started vlogging over the weekend, so I'm coming out with my first vlog, which covers the first year anniversary of an open mic I run at Cinema 76 Cafe in Quezon City. So that's dropping tomorrow. Mabilis lang siya. Pwede niyong panoorin na hindi kayo himatayin. And also, I am coming up with Best Town Podcast has a new episode tomorrow, coming out with comedian and former banker Judd Gregorio. So that's coming out tomorrow on all your podcast aggregators. Also, just please follow everything I do, linktr.ee/Chino Supersize.
All right. As for me, DexCon is happening again this weekend, Saturday, meet and greet Wrestle Bazaar at Unbox Green Hills. Meron pang tickets for the event at the venue, limited lang. So if you've been meaning to go to the meet and greet, you're gonna meet myself, Main Max, the Calamari Drunken Kings, Masa Takanashi, and Chris Brooks, OPM, Jake De Leon, and David Ravena, and all the other stars that are featured on the show. It's gonna be 12 p.m. onwards at Unbox Green Hills. Tapos on Sunday, 6 p.m., it's going to be the main WrestleStorm show. We're going to have our title match against TZK, SJM, and Ken Cypher, who will also be at the event. Sorry, I forgot to mention them. Hindi naman sasadya. But yun, tickets, I believe, are still available at dexcon.helixpay.ph. The venue is going to be at Brawl Pit Bulusan in Banawe, around Banawe, Quezon City. So go check that out, guys, please. If you are looking for some international flavor, our first show of the year, it's going to be a lot of fun. As for Kasaysayan, tickets are already sold out, unfortunately. So if you were not able to get your ticket for NWF Kasaysayan 2024, too bad, y'all. You're going to have to wait for it on RJ Rock of Manila. All right, that's it for the Wrestling Podcast live stream this week. Please follow us if you want to talk more about what we talked about the ganaps of the week, whether we talked about it here on the stream or not. It's at Wrestling2X Pod on Twitter and TikTok, at Wrestling Podcast on Instagram and Threads, and the Wrestling Podcast here on Facebook. My co-hosts are at Chino Supersize, that's here on the video, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, NITE for Rowan ASH, at _Stan C for Stan, at Ro is War for myself on Twitter, and at Chang.Daddy on Instagram and Threads and TikTok. All right. Again, thank you so much to our wonderful management team. Babyface manager, Jasper Manyalang, working us behind the scenes, and the rest of the boys and girls on the Pod Network. Thank you so much for making us sound better than we are, and for keeping the podcast going after all these years. We're celebrating our 10th year in a couple of weeks. Wala pang ganap for our anniversary celebration because things have been so busy with the viewing party. So we hope to see you there, guys. Tickets are still available. Early bird at tinyurl.com/WrestleMania40PH. We'll see you guys there, whether it's at Hobby Stadium or at Skinny Mike Sports Bar in BGC. This has been the Wrestling Podcast. For my co-host, I'm Romoran. Please stay safe, stay dry, stay warm, stay healthy. Don't be a dick, guys. Wrestling Podcast out. Later, Outcast. Peace.